Welcome to episode 91 of Shane Talks. It's going to be an interesting episode. We're going to see how this goes. As always, I am joined by the greatest co-host in the history of podcasting, Mr. Jason L. Mayer. What's up, man? How you doing, sir?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. It's not like we haven't seen a lot of each other recently, so we'll find some stuff to talk about. We've both been pretty busy, and I really haven't had a chance to I haven't written a script for tonight. I mean, not that I write scripts for all of our episodes, but I at least usually have an outline for us, or I have a shtick, or I have something for us to talk about. I got nothing this time, so we're just gonna call this like a
I,
potpourri episode, and we'll see where it goes. We got a couple of things that I know we can talk about. First off, being I want to address this real quick. Troy Talks will not be on this episode. Troy and I's schedule has not worked out for me to be able to record an episode with him before this has to get published. So no Troy Talks this episode. However, as we've been trying to do some mid-month episodes recently, Troy and I have agreed that we are going to do a extended Troy Talks episode for the mid-month October or August episode. So Jason, I'll give you the mid-month episode off. I'll just bring Troy on here. We'll do like an extended Troy Talks with him and just listen to him talk about a whole lot of stuff. So that's what we're going to do for the middle of August. Right now, for the beginning of August, you and I saw a movie that we were both really excited about. So I feel like we can talk about Deadpool and Wolverine for a little bit. Then you and I went to Boston together to go to a celebration for your brother. I feel like we can talk about that a little bit. Um, and we can talk about maybe some other upcoming movies or a movie trailer that I saw that just dropped
you-
for something I'm kind of excited about. What
you're
do you
not
got to say?
even you're not even saying like spoiler alert. You're just throwing out like the entire just go with the episode, Shane. Just go with the flow. Let's start her
Sure.
up. Coming
Okay.
attractions. We
Well, the
kind of
first thing
got rid of it. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. What's got you so pumped and excited?
bro, I'm super excited. Well, there's actually two things now. One that I'm definitely excited for, and one that I'm obviously excited for. So, number one, I'm super excited because you and I are going to watch Crap on Thursday night, the new M. Night Shyamalan flick with Josh Hartnett. And like, I love Josh Hartnett. So the fact that he's coming back, like starring in a movie like this, like super excited about that. I hope it's got some good Shyamalan-iness to it or whatnot. But the thing I'm super excited about was the trailer. I wanted to talk about it later in the episode, but we'll just jump to it now. Did you see the trailer for the new Kevin Smith movie?
I did not. That's 420, right?
The 430 movie.
430 movie. Sorry.
Yeah,
No, I have
yeah.
not seen the trailer for that.
I feel like the 420 movie would have made a lot more sense. Like for him, I mean, granted, he's stopped smoking weed and whatnot now, but still, I feel like the 420 movie would have made a lot more sense. But no, it's a 430 movie, man, and it's nostalgia overload, kind of like it's coming of age, it's kids going to movies, sneaking into movies. Does it look amazing? No. Does it look like it's going to have the nostalgia that I love? Yeah, 100%. I'm assuming it'll have a good soundtrack. I mean, the trailer has a bunch of cameos from the typical Kevin Smith people. So it's Kevin Smith. I'm obviously interested and excited about it. But the trailer makes me think there's going to be some good nostalgia, coming of age, boy trying to pursue girl type stuff, all that shit that I just soak up. So that's definitely my coming attraction is the 430 movie later this year. I will be there day one to go watch it. How about you, bro? What is a coming attraction for you?
Oh man. I you would ask that. I'm
Bro,
stoked
you
for
threw it at me. You didn't think it was gonna come back?
no, I wasn't paying attention well enough to do that. So what I can say is that I'm excited for the new Casey Affleck and Matt Damon movie. I think we might
Okay.
have mentioned it on here on the podcast previously, but the oh my gosh, what is that called, Shane?
The infiltrators,
Oh no.
instigators. I don't. Those guys.
Yeah, that we're doing really good tonight, man.
Man, this is gonna be the
So,
best episode we've ever done.
yeah, so the new one that he is doing is The Instigators. So
Close.
uh
I was in the eye ballpark.
So, The Instigators looks really entertaining. Dig Doug Lyman a
Yep.
lot. And then always fun watching Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, and they get to be kind of silly and ridiculous, it looks like in this movie. Kind of like how I'm excited about what is it, Wolves or The Wolf, The Wolves, the
Yes.
George Clooney Brad Pitt
George
movie.
Clooney, Brad Pitt. Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because something that I talked about previously on here, I believe, but I can't swear to it because man, we don't record nearly as often as we used to.
Yeah.
Um, so you and I went and saw the movie The Horizon, Horizon
Oh,
Chapter
yep.
One,
Yep.
and Western directed by Kevin Costner. It was really a slow burn. I liked it. I didn't love it. I was interested enough to go watch parts two, three, and four, unless they do something really, really strange. But it's kind of weird because apparently I just read an article today that talked about how it is taking off and becoming super, super popular with people at home.
I
So
can see that.
it found its niche, but it's
Well,
finding
bro,
it.
it's the old people that like Yellowstone that want to watch that, and they aren't the type that want to go out and sit through a 3 hour movie. No lie, if you didn't want to go watch that movie, I would have waited till I could watch it at home. I was kind
You
of
wouldn't even
interested in
watch
it.
it at home. Oh, come
I
on.
would have, like, I would have found 3 hours probably to watch that, but
It took you forever to see your God in who directed Oppenheimer. It took you
oh
months and
yeah,
months to watch that, and he's your favorite director right now.
bro, that's
Don't
because
give
it
me
was a
crap.
3 hour movie I didn't want to sit through in the theater.
Kevin Costner would have gotten you to watch that movie if you had done
Eventually,
that. Whatever. I don't buy it.
eventually.
0 out of 10. Do not recommend Shane's Lies. So, the other one
Or
that I'm kind of excited for, although
yeah,
it looks really, really bad, um, is oh my gosh, what is the name of that movie? It is, hold on, I'm looking it up right now because
you're
I
good. I'm
Flight
wondering if it's what's that?
Flight Risk,
It's like,
directed by
oh
Mel
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gibson with Mark Wahlberg in it, it and Topher Grace. Um, it it doesn't look good, but I'll tell you what, I'll buy in just because it's Mel Gibson, Mark Wahlberg. So,
I mean, I'll
um,
watch it, obviously.
that one's probably going to be a 90-minute, right?
I
90
will.
minutes,
We hope.
minutes. Hopefully that's all it is. Hopefully we can go in and be completely blown away by it. But yeah, so
On the same. I'm excited for it, but it doesn't look good. Like I love Christmas movies. Like Red One looks like it could be fun. Like I don't really care for The Rock as much as I like Chris Evans, but it's a Christmas movie, so like I'm definitely 100% in on this.
did you ever watch
Uh,
the one with Ryan Reynolds and
Will Ferrell,
well,
yeah, it was blah.
I like the music in it, but no big surprise there. The guys who wrote The Greatest Showman, the guys who and
But I
all.
was extremely disappointed. Like I had high, high hopes for the music in that movie because of who wrote it, and I mean, that's a 2 out of 10 compared to The Greatest Showman. In my those songs were not memorable. They weren't fun. They weren't catchy. Like I couldn't tell you the name of a single one of them. Like the movie itself was fine, and like not that the music was bad. It was just nowhere near on what I was expecting from the guys that did The Greatest Showman. Like not even close.
I'll give you that. So, but yeah, so
Bro,
that's
you texted me about something else earlier today that you're excited about. But now that I'm looking at the full list of the 5 shows we have coming, and we're gonna throw some love Chris Schneider's way right now, but like out of the 5 shows that are coming to Indy on Broadway Across America this season, you you're interested in like you're skipping the 2 that I would be the most interested in going to see. Like you
oh, so
asked me about what.
there's 6 of them. There's 6 shows this season, upcoming season, that starts in December and runs through July. Um,
Well, their
go ahead.
website does not have the 6th one written or on here then, because it has Elf, Moulin Rouge, Six, Beetlejuice, and Wicked.
So though, yeah, you're missing Annie. Annie's going to be here for a
Okay, yeah,
weekend.
their
A
website
weekend.
does not have that listed.
So yeah.
But I mean, I'm 100% in. I would go watch Elf. I would 100% go watch Beetlejuice, and then I told you I would go watch Wicked.
You don't have
Moulin
to put
Rouge.
any of these.
No,
So,
no, no, no. I definitely. If you guys are gonna go watch Wicked, I've told you that's the one that I haven't seen that I would like to see to experience it. Let's see, that will be after I see part one of the movie. So blah, but whatever. But Moulin Rouge and Six are just of the ones that are on there. Why did you guys? Why are those the ones that you guys are interested in?
well, Moulin Rouge, I've always loved the musical. So, like the movie, Baz Luhrmann's movie in what 2000, 2001.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I think it was '01. Now that I think about it, but yeah. So Moulin Rouge, fantastic movie. I love how they incorporated all the current hits at the time to
Hmm.
something that was taking place in a previous time frame, and then apparently they've reimagined it, used newer
Oh,
songs that are not in the movie, so it's something different.
okay.
And I just love I love the artistic look of it and everything else with Moulin Rouge. Six is something that I can't explain it, man. So it's about, is it
Eighth, I
Henry
think,
the Eighth? Yeah, Henry the Eighth and
and
his
his six
six wives.
wives. Yeah.
And they holy moly, there's some I've only been able to listen to the soundtrack or the
Oh,
recording, the original recording of that cast, but man, there are some songs that just are like absolute like powerhouse songs,
really?
and that I have fallen in love with. And so I am super stoked. That musical is only like 90 minutes too.
Oh,
Like
seriously?
else usually runs around like 3 hours with an intermission, like 2.5 to 3 hours with intermission. That one is 90 minutes. There's no intermission. And but the music is fantastic. So that's why I'm pumped for that. Wicked, best show ever for me to see on stage. I absolutely love that show. Um Beetlejuice, I just, man, the movie's fine. The first
I
movie's
agree.
fine.
I agree.
I'll watch the second movie because it's coming out, but the musical doesn't sound interesting to me.
I would just
So
be interested to see what they did because I agree. I don't think like, the movie's great. I don't dislike the movie in any way, but like I rewatched it a couple of maybe like a month or two ago just to kind of get it fresh in my mind for the sequel. And I agree, like the movie's okay, but it's not great. But I would be interested to see how it translates to a Broadway show.
yeah,
Um,
Elf, I've heard that it's fine, but
mhm.
unless you absolutely love the movie, which I think the movie's really good, but you love it on a different level than I do. So
I do.
um so it's not something that ever caught my fancy either. So,
Right
and
on.
I hate Annie. Like Annie is just that musical that like grinds on me. That and West Side Story are two popular musicals that I just don't get. There's some really good music in each of them, but as a whole, doesn't work for me.
Right on. Well, if anybody is listening to this and they are interested in seeing any of those shows, podcast regular friend of the show, Chris Schneider, works for Broadway Across America, sells tickets, and can take care of you. So reach out to him. He is on Shane Talks. Yeah, he's around. Chris Schneider, hit the guy up. He will take care of you with your ticket needs.
He is the group sales manager for Indianapolis, Broadway in Indianapolis. So yep, if you've got a group, 10 or more, I think is what it costs. But even if you don't have a group, you should go out and support the arts, especially here in Indianapolis. So,
Absolutely.
all right,
Um, no spoilers. I don't want to talk like this is
we
gonna be
don't have.
tough to toe this line because I don't want to talk spoilers about this movie, but like I obviously want to talk about the movie, and I feel like there's a lot to talk about. But like I just want to, if you're listening, we're not gonna spoil the movie if you haven't seen it. Like we're not gonna talk about the cameos, we're not gonna talk about the plot, we're not gonna talk about that stuff. But like Jason, like I we were both really hyped for this movie. I want to know like, because I know you've been very lukewarm towards all things Marvel for a very long time. What is your takeaway and feelings after watching Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah, I had to let it sit for a little bit and sit there and think about everything. This is probably a solid 4 out of 5 for me on my scale. I have a lot of fun watching the movie. I don't think, I think that I was kind of annoyed that they were getting Hugh Jackman to come back just because of the simple fact that like Logan was such a great way to end that storyline.
Yep.
This is not a continuation of that Logan.
Yep.
So, I mean, and they address that really super early
Yep.
inside the movie. They, but yeah, the way they decided to write it, the way they decided to handle it, still felt genuine and still felt like you're not taking away from the ending of that Wolverine. So I thought that was really cool and such a unique way to go about it. Super happy that they did it that way. And he makes the joke, and he made the joke in some of the commercials. Like they're probably going to try and get Hugh Jackman to do this until he's dead. Um, or at least make cameos or something, right? Like this poor guy, man, he is great at being Wolverine, but um I think some of the things that bug me are like I wish this goes for just all the Wolverines on in cinematic history. Let's go that route since he
Mhm.
started the role anyway. I think I want the strong silent type at some point, Wolverine, because he's still got some emotions to him in this movie. Not the sorry, not like if it's bad emotions and he's getting charged up and he's gonna like go kill somebody or attack somebody because of his emotions, that's fine. But like I think it'd be really kind of cool to see a Wolverine that actually is like the stoic one and is like hiding his feelings, even though you know what they are, just like not crying about stuff. Not like, one of the things, one of our a friend of the program, Mark Buckwalter, huge Wolverine fan, has
Mhm.
been ever since I've known him, and we've known each other for freaking 30 years now. Even more so. And one of the things was we watched X2, and at the end of X2, he gets all upset and he's crying because Jean's dead. And then all of a sudden, like I'm hanging out and talking to Mark about it, and he goes, "Man, Wolverine wouldn't be crying about it. Wolverine would be like walking away and going drink a beer or something and just be pissed off and upset and mad and angry, but he wouldn't be sitting there crying with the other X-Men around him." And I was like, you got a good point there. There's something to be said for we see such a dichotomy of, yes, we can embrace, and don't get me wrong, I totally think it's wonderful that we can embrace our the softer side of things when it comes to being a man. And heck, I cry at the stupidest stuff. Well, I won't even say stupidest stuff, but I cry at stuff all the time. So I'm not
Just
discounting
not
the
the Field of Dreams ending for some reason somehow.
fact. Would you just let it go? Uh, but anyways, I just it wouldn't be a bad thing to just be able to see how some people can internalize that. If we want to be all inclusive, there are people who internalize stuff and don't show anything external. So, um, I think it's great when we talk about it and about our feelings and show our feelings, but there's also people who don't, and it's not, everybody's a little bit different. So I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of cool to see that kind of version of Wolverine who's a little bit more stoic.
Right
And then
on.
if he ever does cry 3, 4, 5, 6 movies in, then it actually means something compared to just like, oh, he's teary-eyed again. Look at that. He's crying again. So, but yeah. So that's my little 2 cents about that overall. Fun movie, lots of action. He Very weird movie overall when you think about like the whole like story arc and the storyline of it. But some really unexpected cameos in it.
Yep.
I wish they wouldn't have released some of the footage that they have online of like people up on stage at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend,
Mm-hmm.
showing who those cameos are,
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody makes it to the opening weekend like we do. So
Sure. Yeah, well, that's good. And I think the biggest testament to this movie was what your brother Michael said afterwards, which was,
well, that was fun.
yeah, and that was higher praise than I ever could have expected to come out of Michael's mouth for a movie, specifically a comic book movie. And so,
So
what I want to do real quick, without
this is literally the best MCU movie that they have released. I mean, it's probably better than No Way Home,
um,
and but it's probably the best one they've released since Endgame. So
okay,
kudos to them. Like you've gotten now there's two movies I like and one television show out of all the crap that you've done since Endgame. You've got me to like three things now. So let's see what happens in the future.
cool. Well, what I want to do now, one thing that I did plan out for this talk, and you're going to have to alter your typical grading scale. I know you usually grade things on a 1 to 5 scale. I'm going to need you to do a 1 to 10 scale for me here, and you're allowed to use decimals. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to list off to you every appearance that Hugh Jackman has done as Wolverine, and I need you to rank it for me so that I can put them in order and see your definitive Hugh Jackman ranking system for playing Wolverine. So the first one is the original X-Men film. What grade would you give him as the character in that movie?
Probably like a six.
A 6, like a 6.0?
You can go 6.5.
6.5? All right. The next film would be X2.
That's out of all the movies, that's a 10. That's
That's a
the 10.
10? Okay. All right. A 10. Word. Next up is X-Men The Last Stand.
That is like that's the zero
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
or the one, however you want to go about that.
I mean, if you say it's a zero, I will put down a zero, like a 0.0 or 0.5.
No, that's like a
Yep.
0.0. That movie
Zero
sucked.
point 0. All
It-
right. Then we got him in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That's like a one.
Okay. All right. 1.0. Next up, we got he had a small and brief cameo in X-Men First Class.
Yeah, that one's like a five.
A 5, okay. You didn't appreciate him getting to curse?
Oh, it was whatever.
Okay.
I don't think
First
it's
Class.
necessary for people to curse. So, like, especially in movies that are meant for teenagers and young adults, like, it's not a necessary thing to throw in shits and fucks just because you can.
I don't know, I just
So,
thought it gave his character kind of an edge and reminded you that he's not the 97 animated cartoon version of him. All right. Then we got the Japan-based The Wolverine.
that's probably like a seven,
A 7? Okay, cool. Uh,
7.5.
the Wolverine, a seven or a 7.5.
7.5. Go for it.
All right, okay. Then we got time traveling Logan in Days of Future Past.
Like a nine.
Oh, okay, cool. Days of Future Past is a 9.0. Then we got, I will not count that because it was just a picture of him. Uh, X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's like oh wait, that was when he was Weapon X, right? So like
Yeah,
that's
yeah, he's got that brief cameo.
four.
4. Okay. Apocalypse. So I didn't spell that right at all. Okay. 4.0. All right, then we got Logan.
And that's probably like a have I given anything a 9 yet?
You gave Days of Future Past a 9.0.
This is like an 8.5.
8.5. All right. Uh, Logan, 8.5. I do not count Deadpool 2, so then Deadpool and Wolverine,
It's like a 7.5.
7.5. So that's tied with The Wolverine. Which one's better?
Oh, do I have an 8?
You do not have an 8.
Bump Deadpool and Wolverine up to 8.
Okay. Deadpool 3 is an 8. All right, so Jason Elmayer's definitive organization of Hugh Jackman playing the character of Wolverine goes X2, Days of Future Past, Logan, Deadpool 3, The Wolverine, the original X-Men film, First Class, his cameo, Apocalypse, his cameo, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and then X-Men 3, The Last Stand. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. I don't think I can argue with any of those. Um, might say I like Deadpool 3 a little bit better than Logan. Um,
You asked for his interpretation of the character.
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I just think that overall, Deadpool Wolverine is probably a better movie than Logan, but I think
Hmm.
I like his
His performance.
portrayal of Logan in of Wolverine in Logan better, just a
Nice.
little bit more than Deadpool Wolverine.
Cool. Well, I like that. That was pretty dope. I completely agree with you with everything you said about the movie. It was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. I laughed a lot. There's a lot of jokes that I think play really well. It's not the greatest story when you after you've watched it and you sit back and think about it. Not the greatest villain, not the greatest story, but it's just so much bloody good fun while you're enjoying it. So highly recommend it. If you're a nerd, you definitely should have a super fun time. There's hundreds of Easter eggs to other X-Men properties and Marvel stuff and jokes about, Marvel stuff that didn't work out very well. And yeah, lots of really good stuff in this movie. They obviously, really cared about it. So it was nice to see Marvel give some people a chance to just make something for the fans, and I thought they did a really good job. Cool. So you and I have never done an episode about Boston. We were in Boston together over the weekend. So let's talk first about why we were in Boston, and then we'll maybe use the Google to kind of give us some ideas of movies we can talk about that were based in or filmed in Boston, or you can tell me about some of the places you've been to, some of the locations of some of our movies that we like in Boston. But first off, let's talk about why we went out there. Why don't you go and take this over? Talk about what we were doing out in Boston.
So my brother, we've talked about it previously on the podcast, is dealing with some crazy health issues, and they have decided to move their family back here to Indiana. So they are moving in the middle of August from being just north of well, on the New Hampshire Massachusetts border, up near it's Tingsboro, up near Lowell, Massachusetts, and but they are moving their family from there to here, and doing so to spend more time with family and friends, spend more time with family and friends, and so one of the things that they decided to my sister-in-law reached out to some people that he used to work with, and they threw him quite the shindig. It was it was just a ice cream social that was open to friends, family, and coworkers. And so they got to show their love and appreciation for what my brother did for them as coworkers and students. And yeah, so there was like 300 or 400 people that showed up to this shindig, and you and I were there to take some video footage of stuff, and we're cutting that. You're cutting that together, not we. You're cutting that together. But yeah, we got some video footage of a bunch of stuff, and we're gonna cut some stuff together to make it a memorable thing for him to be able to see and watch and cherish from his students, his old students, and some of his coworkers and
Yeah, man.
his owner, or not owners, but his bosses and stuff while he was teaching at the Innovation Academy up in Tingsboro, Mass. So,
Man, the greatest part about the whole weekend was, I mean, obviously spending time with Dave and his family and whatnot, but you shot a lot of the actual out, where everybody was stuff, and then I was off in a side room where I was doing interviews with people, so that they could leave messages for Dave to be included in this video. And just hearing people talk about your brother and the impact that he has in their lives is absolutely amazing. It's the ripple effect of how one person, or what is it from Knight Rider, one man can make a difference. Like, your brother's that guy. Like, your brother literally has made such a huge impact on so many people. And it was great to hear their stories about inspiring them to be teachers, or inspiring them to go into the science field, or just like, becoming teachers because of how he connected with them when he was teaching. And like, the amount of teachers that said, I took what I learned from day, like co-workers of his and stuff, that said they took what they learned watching him be a teacher and have incorporated it into how they teach now. Like, it was just absolutely amazing to see all these people that I've never met before, and have them talk about how like important your brother is. And that was really awesome. Like, your brother's a great dude, man, and I hope when we get this video done that like he sees what it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he saw that day with the 4 hour line of people that he talks to, every single person that wanted to talk to him, no matter how tired he was. Like, and I know he was really tired and drained by the end of it, but he refused to move on until he talked to everybody that was in that line. And bro, your brother's a great person. I've I've talked about it publicly and privately about how I look at him as a big brother to me. He's meant a lot to me, throughout my entire life. So, well, I'm sorry, since I met him through the rest of my life. But yeah, dude, you have a great brother, and I was very honored to be a part of going up there and being a part of everything. So it was a great time.
well, thank you for doing it. You being the one who was doing the interviews, uh, trust me, I would not have been able to do what you did being in that room and listening to all those people. Uh, I know you mentioned you got a little emotional a couple of times.
Bro, I fought back the tears. There was at least two out of the like 30 interviews. There was at least two of them that they had to have been able to see I was crying while they were talking. Like, I I got choked up a lot. Just like I said, hearing people talk about what your brother means to him.
And but I know I probably would have broke down a lot more times than you did. So so
You were
kudos
in
to
there for one of them, and did you actually cry back over in the corner?
Oh, well, I was in the back of the room packing up something when you did that interview, and yes, tears were shed while she was talking about the impact David had made on her, and
Yeah,
uh,
that's just the
like
tip of the iceberg.
and it was one of those moments where it's like I don't even know this girl, but I want to go give her a hug, like because that was the awesomeness of hearing what Dave meant to each one, to that person, and I can't imagine doing that 30 times. So,
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was rough. It was awesome. Like I said, it's great to hear all those stories and everything. But like, you just hear and feel like the love that they have for your brother, and like you can't not get like it's impossible to listen to that without getting emotional about it. Like, it was such an amazing day. A couple of us from here in Indy were able to make the trip out there. So it was really good to hang out with a bunch of people that I know through Dave and because of Dave, and have been around, Dave's friends that I've become friends with because of him and stuff like that. Like, it was an absolutely amazing, great time. I'm excited to get your brother back here so that I get to see him more often and he's closer. And I know you're gonna be there for him and his family, and be able to take care of him and help out with all the stuff that Jen has to deal with and whatnot. So like, really excited to have your brother back, so that we can spend some more quality time with him and whatnot.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about that?
No, 'cause I'm sure I'll think of something in the future that we if we
Okay.
need to talk about it.
Cool, cool. Well, then, Boston. Boston's got a long history between us. I remember the day in 2006, when I came to your movie theater here in Indianapolis, and I walked in, and you were all like, "I think I'm going to turn down the Boston job." And inside, I was screaming happy that you weren't going to move to Boston. Outside, I tried to play it cool. "Aw, bro, like you got to do what you got to do. Like if you think you need to, then you should." And in my mind, I was like, he's not going. He already told me he's not going. Cool. I went in and watched the movie. 2 hours later, I come out and I see you in the bar, and you say, "I accepted the job in Boston." And I said, "Oh, well, I was in this movie." It makes sense why you did it. Obviously, you were doing it to be closer to your now wife, which I fully support. But I mean, at that point, I was far more selfish than I think I am at the moment, but I did not want you to go. So I was very heartbroken when you moved to Boston, but I got the pleasure to go visit you a lot while you were out there. And we got to do some cool stuff. Fire and Ice was like our restaurant that we would go to together every time I came out there. And, we went and saw, Celtics Pacers games, went to well, you didn't. I went out with your brother Michael. We went out to your Wellfleet house, the family house that you have out in Cape Cod. Yeah, man, I got to experience a lot of really cool New England shit because of you and your brothers. So why don't you tell me a little bit about moving out there and I mean, you don't have to tell me why you did. I know why you did it, but like you can just talk about the decision and stuff that you fondly remember from Boston.
So I mean, the whole reason was so that I would be closer to my then girlfriend, now wife. Um, that was the whole reason I moved out there, but it made it a whole lot easier that my whole family's from there originally. Both sides, mom and dad. They met while dad was in college, and yeah. Um, so yeah, once it made it a whole lot easier. I got to stay with my grandparents for a little bit when I first moved out there, and then ended up getting my own place. And then Letha and moved over like a year after I moved out there. She moved in, and we went. So yeah, we moved together. I moved out there May of '06. She joined me May of '07. And then some of the things that I remember, one is definitely you coming up and spending a lot of time on the floor of our dining room slash beer pong room.
You
You
know?
slept on the floor in there a bunch for
I had
like
an
a
air
couple.
mattress though, right? Like I had an air mattress,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, I thought
you
so. Yeah,
I had an air mattress that you were borrowing.
there we
So
go.
we were talking about, you're talking about what? That was 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, I was out there for about a month that time.
And then so you came and you crashed on that floor. We hung out. I'm still annoyed that you didn't allow me to run out onto center field of Fenway Park. You were so worried about us getting arrested that you wouldn't allow me to do it, which is hilarious that it's you who kept me from
Yeah,
doing it.
especially
But
at that point. But yeah,
yeah. So that's one of the things that I remember. I remember multiple trips that you took out there, and I remember you always
so
at
real
one
quick,
point.
while you talk about Fenway, I literally have said that I can never go to Fenway again. Well, okay, so first of all, the whole story, real quick, is I was going to the Boston International Film Festival while I was out there, and I got a phone call from you in the middle of, I think I was watching like The Wicker Man that day or something. Got a phone call from you that was literally like, "You need to get back here. We're going to the Red Sox game tonight." So drove all the way to get to meet up with you, and then we went out to dinner with your uncle. He took us out to dinner, but I didn't change clothes from what I was wearing that day, and I was in like my super shredded up like denim jeans, and I'm sure I was in like a t-shirt or something like that. But we walked into Fenway through some back ass entrance with your uncle, taking up this private elevator to literally, what are they, like $300 suite seats where they have a dining room behind it, and like I was so underdressed and looked like they had like your uncle had just like picked me up off the fucking street to bring me in. I was very out of place, but it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. Like I go to baseball games to, drink a beer and have a hot dog. And like I think we had steak that night. I think like it was a very nice dinner that we had. Then we walked out from the restaurant part like to these seats that had private televisions in front of them, and like there was like a college football game going on that same night, so we got to watch the baseball game and college football on these little private TVs in front of us. Like we could look directly out at the Green Monster. We were behind home plate. Like I don't think I can ever step foot in Fenway again because like I've seen what it's like to be in like prime Fenway seating. And that was pretty cool. So I appreciate being able to be a part of that, even though probably all of your uncle's friends thought I was literally a hobo off the street because that's what I kind of looked like. I was in flip-flops. Yeah, but good times. So you mentioned Fenway. I wanted to chime in with that fun story that I have from Fenway.
Yeah. Besides that, I just remember us, like um running around being silly. We went to Fire and Ice a couple of times. We went to a Pacers Celtics game at the Garden. So
At
that
the
was
garden.
cool.
Yep.
And then yeah, just spent some good time. You didn't I don't think you came out much after Dave moved to the North Shore. So, or
No, because yeah, when we just went out this time, that was the only time I've ever been to that house.
yeah, so besides that, I mean, some of the stuff that I loved to do while we were out in Boston was we had two dogs, Kaylee and Drake, and we loved taking them to there was a place called Stotter's Neck, which was a dog park, which was really cool, but there's also Castle Island.
I remember
Um
you
and
telling me about that.
Castle Island is an old military castle, essentially. It's like in South Boston. It's on a peninsula, and it was a base, a military base that had been destroyed like three or four times and had to be rebuilt.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
but yeah, but it's really kind of cool. That's one of the things that I really liked about it. Um, and then just being out there, the ocean air is really nice. Being in Quincy, we were really close to the ocean, so we didn't deal with as much of the crazy weather as everybody else did that was inland. And when you're a Celtics Pacer or a Celtics Patriots Red Sox Bruins fan, where's the better place to be? And
Absolutely.
I got to see multiple. I never went to. I should have, but I never went to any of the victory parades. I should have
Mm.
gone to at least one of those, but I didn't. And then the cool thing for me is I got to see the Celtics raise banner 17 when back all those years ago, and so that was
So
cool.
when we talk about the Celtics game, the Celtics game real quick. One of my other favorite stories I love to tell about trips to Boston was so at the time it was cheaper and easier for me to fly into Providence, Rhode Island and have you come down and pick me up there because it was either 40 minutes to Logan and it was, terrible traffic in Boston or a quick shot down to Providence to get me. So I would fly into Providence, and in Providence there was a Fire and Ice. One of these times that you picked me up, the time that I went out for that Pacers Celtics game, you picked me up at the airport and we went to the Fire and Ice in Providence. I was wearing my Colts gear. You were wearing Patriots gear. We go into Fire and Ice. We sit down. We're doing our thing. The guy's cooking our food in front of us and literally says to us, "Are you guys really friends?" And it was like it was funny. It was like, "Oh, ha, ha, yeah, like yeah, blah. He's my buddy back home from Indy, yada yada yada." That alone wouldn't have been that great of a story. But the fact that we then, went to your house, picked up your wife, picked up your roommate, went downtown Boston, and was it Aaron's idea or was it Letha's idea to do Fire and Ice for dinner?
I think because Letha had never been to Fire and Ice, and I kept going without her, that she was like, "We need to go to Fire and Ice."
So
Uh,
the exact same day, we went to Fire and Ice for dinner. At this point, I am now wearing all of my Pacers gear. You're wearing all of your Celtics gear, and our waitress that night, I remember, like stopped and did the exact same thing that we had experienced in the afternoon, and she said, "Are you guys really friends?" And I love the fact that that exact same story happened two different times on the same day in the same restaurant in two different cities while we were wearing football rival stuff and then basketball rival stuff. And that's one of my fun stories that I always have about balls. Like just it wouldn't like if all of those details didn't play out the way they did, it wouldn't be as great of a story. Like if it was two different trips or if it was two different restaurants or anything like that. But just like the fact that all of that happened, in one day, I love that story.
fun little fact, the entire time I lived in Boston, which was 4 years, or in the Boston area, for those 4 years, I only went to one Patriots game.
That is
And
insane.
then since I have moved away from Boston, which was 14 years ago, I have been to three Patriots games. So
Interesting.
hilarious that it worked out that way, that I've seen more games at Gillette Stadium since not being a resident of Boston in the area compared to being someone who lived there at the time. So
How many Celtics games do you think you went to?
at the Garden, it was probably four or five.
Nice.
I
That's
know we
cool. And
went
you
went two or three times. No, I think we went. It's got to be more than that because I know I went at least twice the year we really sucked, which was the year before we got Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. I want to say the year that we got those two, I ended up going to at least two games. And then I know I went to at least and then I saw Banner 17 raised. And I think that
that's
was
awesome.
the last time I was there. So, and then one of the Patriots games that I went to was the season opener after winning our fifth Super Bowl, even though we
Nice.
got trounced by Mahomes and the Chiefs in that home opener. So, but at least I got to see them celebrating the fifth banner. So,
You went out there a year or two ago when Dave had season tickets to, or was that just last year that you went out to that game with Dave?
In November. Yep.
Who did they play that game?
The Washington Redskins, or
Okay,
sorry, the Commanders.
gotcha.
So, yeah, and
Right
then the
on.
year before that, we all went out and saw them play the Colts. So,
Is that the trip that Lee went on with you?
no, no, no. So we saw the one that Lee saw at Gillette Stadium was the year I lived out there.
Oh, okay, got it.
That was Colts and Patriots on a Sunday night, Manning, Brady at the peak of their powers. And then since then, I saw the Chiefs trounce us on opening day. Then I saw the Colts get beat down by Mac Jones in one of like the last games he was ever really effective.
Mm,
And that was the year that they were running the Matt Patricia was running the offense horribly. And then I went last year where we played the Washington Commanders and Bill O'Brien was running the offense horribly and we lost to the Commanders. So
how you feeling about your new regime you got in there?
yeah,
Man,
can't be anything worse than what I saw last year.
understandable.
So
Understandable.
I like
Were
Jacoby
you
Brissett. I think he's a solid player. I hope they keep him starting as long as it makes sense. Um, Heck, I'm okay with you even playing him longer than if it makes sense. If it just means I don't know. I'm kind of the mindset that man, you look at what Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love have been doing,
sure?
and don't get me wrong, I am nowhere near believing that Drake May is that kind of caliber of a football player yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you had first round quarterbacks who literally got to sit on their hands for 2, 3 seasons and
Yep.
do nothing except for just soak it all in, watch the game, learn from somebody who is a skilled veteran. And that's what I believe that Jacoby Brissett is. Like, I think you sit you sit Drake May until Heck, sit him for the entire season. Sit him for the next season too. I just want him to sit there and absorb everything because you throw these quarterbacks out too early and then they get eaten up.
Yeah,
You, that's what happened with Mac Jones. I think that's what happens unless they're an elite quarterback. There's very few. Peyton Manning is one of them. Um, what was the other one that just popped into my head? Andrew Luck was another one. They're saying Caleb Williams is that guy. We'll see. But like I just
see.
I think it makes way more sense in the most mentally demanding aspect of the entire NFL is being an NFL quarterback. So it makes way more sense to sit somebody too long than to sit them too little. So we'll
Very
see.
cool.
But I'm not running an NFL team, right? So it's not up to me.
We got fantasy football coming up soon. I'm excited about that.
I know.
Yeah, commissioner boy. Gotta
Commissioner
get all those
and
commissions.
champ.
Oh
And
yeah, I
champ.
forgot about that. Nobody cares who won last year. Nobody cares. Um,
Troy
so let's
remind us a lot, right?
well, Troy reminds us, I mean, he hasn't won in like 10 or 15 years either. Not that I've
Yeah, but
ever
he
won.
has two. He's got two wins, so we have to
He has
listen to
to.
that.
Yeah. I feel like all people who aren't in our league anymore, their trophies should be vacated. So like Devin's trophies don't count anymore. Um,
Lee's doesn't. Okay.
yeah, Lee's trophy doesn't count. Like I feel like, I feel like I've got the same number of trophies as Lee right now, even though he's the one that beat me to not give me a trophy. But yeah, so I'm excited about fantasy football coming up. On Sunday morning when you were driving me back to the park and ride, we had a conversation. I asked you a question. With Dave moving back from Boston, I feel like there's not a whole lot for you to go out there and visit anymore. Do you kind of feel like Dave moving back is kind of closing a Boston chapter in your life, or like do you think you'll still be going out there at all? Like, is there any reason or allure for you and your family to go back to Boston at this point? I know you still do have other family there, but obviously I personally don't think you're as close with them as you were with Dave. But like so family wise or anything else, like what would you ever go back to Boston with the family or the
Yeah,
Boston area?
definitely. I would, you know, it's in my blood. It's a part of who I am. I don't see it's probably going to be very few and far between when I get out there again. But I would love to my kids and I
Hmm.
coming from my dad's side of the family are all Mayflower descendants. And
Nice.
so my kids have never been to Plymouth Plantation, which is basically like the living museum, kind of like Connor Prairie is. So you get to see what life was like for them when they came overseas and running, trying to survive the harsh winters of New England. And one of my sons is a huge history buff. So
Nice.
um, I think it would behoove us to make sure that we get back out there and do a full, do the Boston, um, or do the Freedom Trail in downtown Boston and get down to Plymouth Plantation. Um, there's a lot of cool stuff in that area. The Witch Museum up in Salem is really kind of cool and like weird. Um, so yeah, I think there's plenty of stuff and reasons to go back. So I don't see any reason why I wouldn't go back at some point in time, but it's not going to be
Awesome.
high on my list because there's plenty of other places I want to take the kids to go visit. So,
I do have
but
two other good memories that I enjoyed from my trips out there. Number one was I spent an entire day out at Walden Pond. Big Henry David Thoreau fan, so getting to go out there and wander around the pond, go into like the recreated cabin that they've got and like where stuff was there. Super cool. I also was extremely excited about going to the Bull and Finch pub, the original bar that Cheers was based on. We walked past, so there's the original Bull and Finch pub, the go down the stairs bar underneath the building that you see on all the external shots in the show Cheers. The bar inside looks absolutely nothing like the bar in the TV show. which was still cool. You and I hung out there one night, drank a lot, had a really good time. It was a really chill and low key vibe, and I liked the bar a lot. We did walk past. They eventually rebuilt the bar. They took the set of the bar and rebuilt another bar in downtown Boston to look like that. Now we walked past it and it looked cool, but I never got to go in before it ended up closing. Was that the one that was called Faneuil Hall?
It's at Faneuil Hall.
At Faneuil Hall. Okay, got you. So yeah. So it ended up closing. I never made it inside that one, but I am more happy about the fact that I got to go inside the Bull and Finch pub because that was just a really cool experience. I got a photo of it because the first door, I think the first door has the Cheers logo on it, but it's got a glass window and you can look through and see the original Bull and Finch pub logo through that glass door. I got a really cool shot of that and whatnot. But yeah, that was a really good and fun time that I was out there in Boston. What about you, man? Like, what are some of the like peak experiences that you had while you were out there that you'll never forget?
Definitely the whale watching was really
Oh,
awesome. Seeing humpback whales in there, out on the ocean and being able to do that. One of the things that I really enjoyed and that I took my kids to, and they seemed to enjoy it too, was the New England Aquarium. It was really
oh,
cool.
right on.
Um, and then, obviously that I don't think Letha and I's relationship would be nearly as strong now as it is if we had not been out there alone, essentially. We were about an hour away from family in either direction, whether we were going up to Dave or going up to see my grandparents. We were about an hour away from either one. And so it was a trek, and it's not like it was a bad one, and it's not that far, but it's also like a planned day. It wasn't like, hey, let's just go right now. It was more like, oh, hey, on Sunday, let's go and do this with them kind of thing. So it was, I would say the sports events, having the family and then, all my friends coming out to visit because you came out to visit, Lee came out to visit. Tony came and moved out there and lived out there for a couple of years. So yeah, it was everybody kept threatening that they were going to come visit more often. Very few did, but we definitely got to have some. My wife's 35th and my wife's 35th birthday was probably one of the most memorable. We surprised her by having some of her friends show up, and we all went out and spent a weekend at my family home out on Cape Cod. So we got
Beautiful
to
house.
yeah, we got to just hang out for the weekend and just spend some time together looking at stuff. Or like we went up to Provincetown and walked around and just good food, good company. So, and it was like I said, it was pretty awesome to have the whole family or the family accessible, but also so cool to be able to spend so much time looking around and checking things out. So,
Absolutely. Well, it's good, man. And, I talk a lot of shit about it, but I am proud of you for doing it. I'm happy you did it. Everything happens for a reason, and I got to go visit you and have a whole lot of fun while you were out there, and I'm really glad that it was good for you and Letha for you to do it. So I know I give you a lot of shit all the time about you, ditching me and lying to me and all that kind of shit, but I'm very, very happy that you ended up doing it. All right, man. Let's look at a list of. Well, we'll start with this list, and I'm sure there's a bunch of shit that's not on here. But let me get your opinions on some of these movies that they say are the 25 best movies set in Boston. The first one I've got on here is 21. I loved the book. I thought the movie was pretty good. Your opinion?
yeah, movie was decent. Takes place at MIT and Vegas for the most part, are the two places
Mhm.
where it basically takes place. So, it's kind of cool. It was entertaining. Had fun watching it.
Cool. I don't know anything about Stronger, the one about the Boston Marathon.
I never saw it. That's the one with Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Uh,
I think that's the one with
yes. Yep.
Gyllenhaal. And
Yeah.
I wanted to see it, but I never got to. So,
Black Mass. I didn't watch it because it's a biopic.
biopic about one of the scariest human beings ever. And Johnny Depp does a really, really good job. The movie's just kind of okay. His
Okay.
performance in the movie should have been Oscar worthy because every time he's looking at the screen, he's making your skin crawl in that movie.
Oh,
Like he's just, yeah, the evil that was in him was quite amazing. So,
interesting. Ted was a lot of fun. Very enjoyable movie.
yeah, when you're
I've
in the
good.
mindset of a teenager,
Yeah.
excuse me for yawning. Woo.
I never saw Infinitely Polar Bear. Never even heard of that movie.
Nope, don't know that one.
Uh, Apparently the original Thomas Crown Affair was set in Boston. Never seen it.
Nope,
No. Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. The original Out of Towners from 1970.
got
I knew
nothing.
it was based on a Neil Simon play, but for some reason, oh, yeah, again, I thought it was set in New York City. But whatever. Never heard of that movie. Never heard of that movie. The 2014 version of The Equalizer. I did not remember that was set in Boston.
Yep. It's in kind of like the South Shore area. Yeah, like the movie a lot. I like it's kind of weird because I feel like I think I've said it on here before. That and John Wick weren't out too far apart from one another. And I feel like
Okay.
where John Wick is a force of nature, and I feel like the Equalizer, Denzel Washington's Equalizer is more of like the Batman.
Oh,
He's not
okay.
a reactor, he's more of a planner, and he figures out absolutely everything in a room before he does anything. And I like that aspect of that character a lot.
So apparently there was another movie about the Boston Marathon bombing with Mark Wahlberg called Patriots Day.
Patriots Day. Yeah, so that
Never saw it.
so stronger is the story of one of the Boston Marathon runners who lost both of his legs, and
Oh,
him
okay.
and him like building his, like gets the both of his legs have been amputated, and he's trying to learn how to function as a human and everything afterwards, and the internal struggles of what he went through. Patriots Day is literally the Boston Marathon bombing and the chase to get the brothers that did
Oh,
the
okay.
bombing.
Okay.
And Peter Berg directed it. I feel like the movie could have been a little bit more tight, but
Okay.
overall, it's probably like a 3.5 on my 5 star. And it's just because, but there's some cool aspects to that movie for sure.
Yeah, 2 hours and 13 minutes is what it says the runtime is. The next two are ones that I know you and I both love. Both directed by Ben Affleck, The Town and Gone Baby Gone. Two absolutely phenomenal movies. They're both amazing. Have you been inside the bar from Gone Baby Gone? Or you
Oh,
drove me past it, so I know you drove me past it and you were like, that's the bar from Gone Baby Gone, but I couldn't remember if you said you'd ever gone inside.
nope. Drove past it every day to drive Letha to work. But yeah, no, never been inside.
Okay. Don't know what the verdict is. Oh, another great movie. Really enjoy The Social Network.
Yeah, The Social Network's a solid film. Liked it a lot.
The next one, I think is a fine movie, but fuck, man, everybody blows this movie out of proportion, and
Oh, they
that's the
don't.
Boondock. Yes, they do.
Oh, my fault. Thought you were talking about something else. Go ahead.
Okay, the Boondock Saints.
I thought it was just blah.
Yeah, like
And
I'm
it might have
fine with
been
it.
because it couldn't live up to the hype that everybody built it for me. So
Okay, so tell me what you thought I was going to go with. What?
I thought you were going to say The Departed.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, we're not there yet. The next one on the list is The Fighter.
Love it.
Yep, good
Fantastic
movie.
acting from everybody in that movie. David O. Russell, literally, his movies sometimes are really good and sometimes they're just blah. Um, it, it's either a 3 or almost a 5 for me, one way or the other with David O. Russell. And this one was fantastic across the board. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. It's a very good movie. There's another one that is really good, and I didn't remember that it was set in Boston, but that's Mystic River, the Clint
yeah,
Eastwood movie.
and that's literally one of the rivers that runs through the Boston area is Mystic
Oh, how
River.
dumb am I? Yeah, I didn't know that.
I mean, it's Boston area based, right? It'd be like saying like white or what the oh God, Lebanon is a Indianapolis movie. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but I mean it's in the Austin metropolitan area essentially.
Yes.
But movie is fantastic.
Yes, it
Really
is.
dark. I don't like, and I've only watched it one time, but I really liked it when I saw it.
Another one that I did not realize was in Boston, Shutter Island. Takes
Yep.
place in Boston?
It doesn't, again,
Oh,
Boston,
20 miles outside of Boston. Oh, okay,
yeah,
I see.
because they're on like the ocean at one point, or they're and like you're seeing ocean cliffs and stuff. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, if you've never seen the movie, fantastic. I won't say it's fantastic. It's really good. And Scorsese was really good at it, but the trailer ruins that movie. If you watch the trailer, don't bother. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm just not a fan of
it
the
takes
movie.
it just takes so much out of the movie if you remember anything about the trailer. So,
Yeah, I don't even think it's the trailer that did it for me. Like it was its attempt at a wannabe Shyamalan twist ending that I didn't care for. Like I didn't like it.
it's a Shyamalan ending, but okay.
Like I mean, because everything that you just watched wasn't really what was going on. Like,
Yeah, it was.
no, no, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, it was. Everything that was happening was really happening.
No, no.
Yeah, yeah. Agree to
We'll
disagree on that one.
we'll agree to disagree, but we can also debate it when it's not gonna spoil the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. I don't want to flat out say, what happens at the very end of the movie. But number one on the team's list, I would flip flop because, like you already said, I like The Departed. I just don't love The Departed. I think The Departed has a lot of really good stuff in it, but I also feel like The Departed just tried to do too much. And it's in no way am I bad mouthing the movie. In no way do I think it's bad. Would I ever not watch it? No. Like The Departed's good, but for me, my on this, I mean, obviously I like The Town and Gone Baby Gone, but dude, Goodwill Hunting is Boston. Like that's Boston. That's four dudes from Boston trying to get a girl. Well, one of four dudes trying, four bros, and one of those bros trying to get a girl. Like that movie is phenomenal. I love every single frame of that movie. Matt Damon's great, but like just Robin Williams and the whole story about the girl at the bar, like there is so much phenomenal that I think is far superior in Goodwill Hunting to The Departed. Give me your feelings on those two.
Departed, fantastic movie overall. Might be my favorite Scorsese movie ever. Um, and you can't go wrong with Goodwill Hunting at all. Um, and it seriously might be the first R-rated movie I ever showed to Christopher, my son. So,
All right, I like that. Oh, and what do you got anything that comes to your mind before I anything else that wasn't on that first list that we went through?
Knives Out takes place in the Boston area.
Hmm,
Um,
okay.
you missed that one. And Spotlight, which is another one of those movies that is so heavy, dark,
Is that the
and
newspaper?
yeah, it's
Okay.
when and it's all about the Catholic priests and how
Oh, yeah,
in the Catholic Church moving priests from
that's
parish to
right.
parish and stuff like that. It's another super dark movie, so well executed, but um, yeah, makes you kind of hate people for a little while. Legally Blonde takes place at
Oh, Harvard. Oh, good
uh
call.
got that. You got The Heat, which is the Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy, their cops one.
Okay. Yep.
FBI in Boston PD. That was okay. It was entertaining for what it was. Um, Manchester by the Sea, which is something
Oh, the Casey Affleck. Yeah,
that takes
that
place
was
on
a
the North Shore.
okay. That was
Um,
a good movie.
yeah, another dark one that's like
Dark. Yeah.
once you watch it, you're just like, I don't know if I'll ever watch that again. But
Yeah. I agree.
and then we mentioned it previously, but you didn't say anything about Fever Pitch, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Fever Pitch. Okay. Yep. Yep.
the bad U.S. remake
of a book that I absolutely love and a
of
British movie
taking
from 1997,
taking a book and movie about soccer and
football.
relating it to baseball instead, which was kind of it was fine. It will help you with the main points of the story as far
Yeah,
as like its beats, but I thought it was funny that especially with that movie at the very end that they had to rewrite the ending because the Sox won the World Series after being the lovable losers for the last 86 years previously. So
yeah, that was serendipitous there that they decided to, use the Red Sox for this storyline because of the fact that they hadn't won anything, and then literally the year they were filming, they decided to win it. Yeah, that's film hilarity there. Um, I thought, see, when we were talking about Black Mass earlier, I thought this movie took place in Boston. Blow, the Johnny Depp one where he plays the drug smuggler. For some reason, I couldn't 100% say it when we were talking earlier, but it's on this other list that it takes place in Boston. But yeah, I guess his parents live in Boston. He moves to like Florida or something, but he starts his career in Boston, and that's when he goes back and visits his mom and whatnot. So, your one of your favorite movies of this year, The Beekeeper, takes place in Boston, apparently.
oh, I never said that that was one of my favorite movies of the year. Get that out of your mouth. Yeah. I mean, it's a bad movie, but it works. It works because it's a bad 80s B movie. Pun intended. Apparently, the Thomas Crown Affair in 1999 also took place in Boston.
Oh, did it? Okay, I haven't gotten down there on this list yet. Moneyball? I thought that was in San Francisco.
Part of it takes place in Boston because at the
Does
end
it?
of the movie, they're trying to recruit him to become their GM. Um,
Oh, okay.
they're trying to buy him off of the Oakland A's, and
Got it.
he
Or
has a
Oakland, yeah.
oh, sorry, yeah. And then but yeah, another one you forgot. I don't know how. You love this actor. You love two out of the three. Heck, Celtic Pride, baby. How'd you
Oh,
get
yeah. Oh,
that one,
yes.
Shane?
Celtic Pride. Yes, Damon Wayans, baby. Man,
Oh,
I need
that
to
movie
give that
was so
movie a
bad.
rewatch. What's that?
So, so bad.
I need to
So,
give it a rewatch. Ooh, have I gifted that to you yet on iTunes? I need to make sure I gift
it
that to
will
you on
never be
iTunes.
watched. It will never be watched. So
Central
don't waste your.
Intelligence? Is that really the Kevin Hart rock movie? Did it take place in Boston?
It does.
Okay.
Part of it does anyway. Amistad took place in Boston in the 1800s.
See,
So
this says that the 1999 Out of Towners also took place in Boston. I swear to God, that movie is set in New York City.
maybe it's they start out in Boston and they end up in New York City, and that's why
It
they're out of
must
town.
be. It must be.
Yeah, it's kind of really loose on what's considered. Yeah, the
Takes
movie.
place in Boston.
Oh, well, heck. Here you go. So the original Out of Towners,
Uh-huh.
couple from a small town in Ohio headed to New York, but they get rerouted to Boston and then
Oh,
are getting to New York from Boston. So I don't know if
okay.
that's the main thing from the other one.
1999. They live in an Ohio town. Empty nest syndrome. Uh,
You say that, you know what else takes place in Boston? Godzilla, King of the Monsters. He destroys Fenway Park in that movie.
oh.
I don't remember that, but that's what I'm reading just now. So
Okay, yeah, no, yeah, they're rerouted to Boston and their luggage is lost and then they rent a car and go to New York City. So yeah, yeah, and I just rewatched that movie not too long ago and hated it again. The Recruit. Oh, The Recruit. Al Pacino, Colin Farrell,
Yep, yep.
Boston.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember it taking place in Boston.
I don't either. The River Wild. That really takes place in
They're
Boston.
from Boston. They're in like Colorado doing that.
Okay.
I and then the other one that popped in my brain was Fall Free Guy. Free
Oh,
Guy. All of the uh shots when they're in like the digital world or whatever are all
okay.
Boston shots.
Oh, I can't believe. I mean, I mentioned this movie earlier in this episode. Again, only 2.5 scenes take place in Boston, but Field of Dreams has some Boston time. The Fighter.
We already talked about The Fighter.
Oh shit, my bad. Yeah. Far and Away. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's a Boston movie. They might have been from.
And who could forget that Arrow took place in Boston? So was filmed in Boston. At least the exterior shots of Boston. Star City was considered what they like
That
their
wasn't
B.
Vancouver?
No. The B-roll footage was of Boston, and then they used Vancouver where they actually shot. But yeah, Boston was like the sweeping, skyline and stuff like that was all Boston.
Was Harvard Man Julia
No, that's
Joey
Sarah
Lauren
Michelle
Adams, Sarah
Gellar.
Michelle Gellar, and Adrian Grenier? Yeah.
Yep. And then what was the other one? The Game Plan. The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. Oh, okay.
He played for like the Boston something or other. They shot in Gillette Stadium.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Apparently the 2025 Karate Kid film is going to have some connection to Boston. Night and Day, the Tom Cruise movie?
oh yeah. Yep. Directed by one of my favorite directors, but that movie sucked.
Wait, why does it say I Know What You Did Last Summer? That did not take place in Boston.
In
Did it?
Boston. In Boston.
I
No,
did
it,
not say I
North
did not say
Carolina.
that.
Yes, you did.
That's what I thought.
It was like the Carolinas, but they might have used some shots up in Boston.
I mean,
Boston.
yeah, Southport, North Carolina. Yeah, why does this have anything to do with Boston?
Did she
What
go to
about I
school up in
still
Boston?
That's what it is, because yeah, the sequel is she's going to summer classes in Boston, so the very end sequence must be her at college in Boston.
Got it.
Ugh, well, that's a fucking stretch if I've ever heard one in a movie. So
Oh,
we had the
blown away. Blown
Beekeeper, and
away is another
apparently,
one.
what is?
Blown away.
Oh, the Tommy Lee Jones, Kurt Russell Baum movie?
Well, Bridges. It was Jeff
Jeff
Bridges.
Bridges. Sorry, Jeff Bridges. Sorry, yeah, Jeff Bridges. Oh, okay. That's one I haven't seen in a long time. I remember it being good when I was younger. We had the Beekeeper. Apparently, the Zookeeper also takes place in Boston.
Uh, I think we can
Yeah,
wrap up the Boston movies.
yeah.
So,
I think we've run out of Boston movies. So, man, like again, since I didn't put anything together, and we've talked about quite a bit of stuff, and this doesn't need to be a super long episode. We're kind of getting, I'm running out of shticks to do. We're kind of wrapping up these last, 8 more episodes now or whatnot to do before we go on hiatus. So we got a lot of productions that we're gonna be trying to work on here soon. We got Cookie Wars coming up. We got the Consternate sequel coming up. Yeah, we got some fun stuff we're gonna be working on. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap up Shane Talks here in a few more episodes. Like I said, we're gonna do a mid-August month episode and extended Troy Talks. We'll probably just call it extended Troy Talks or something like that. But Troy and I will be back for a long time to chat. And then I haven't come up with a September shtick yet, but I'm sure you and I will come up with something that you always have great ideas. You can put something up on the Facebook group and get a bunch of content for us because that's what you're really good at.
well, and we already have our plan for November, so we
Yep.
got that taken care of.
That will be
Uh,
a great, and that one's going to take a lot of. That one's not going to be a simple episode, so we're going to have to start getting some of that content put together for that episode. But that's going to be a great episode, and this one made for a good prequel teaser for what we're going to end up doing in November, and I'm excited about that.
Definitely. So,
So, all right, brother. Well, thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for the people who listened. We're going to go ahead and cut this one short, not be stupid long, and yeah. So this was our Boston. Were you doing some peace and love right there? Is that what I saw?
yep.
Yep, I love it. All right. Well, we will be back. Troy and I will be back soon, and then Jason, I'll talk to you in a month, man.